Chosen one, pause for a moment. This is not just another video. Sometimes the main character enters the story so late that it feels like an unexpected twist. But in truth, it was divine timing. Let's be honest, there were moments when it seemed as if your name was not even on the cast list. You were behind the curtain, drenched in sweat, pain, and disappointment, while the stage shone with those who had not even half of your depth or calling. They played for the crowd, dependent on applause. But you know what this world truly fails to acknowledge? That in every great story, there comes a moment when the real hero steps forward and everything changes. Some of the most iconic roles in history almost went to others, but everything fell into place when the one destined appeared. That is you. You were never late, you were hidden. And now the spotlight trembles, not from its brightness, but from anticipation. The stage is lit. The world holds its breath. You're not merely entering, you're taking over. Let your adversaries sit in the front row. Let them watch. This is not just a moment. This is your time, your ascension. You're the plot twist no one expected. While they wrote you off, spoke behind your back, and made plans without you, you were quietly becoming the one who would rewrite the entire story. They thought you had lost. They saw themselves as the lead. But you are not returning. You are arriving for the first time. And the fact that you became yourself shatters all their scripts. They mistook your silence for defeat. But in that silence, you went through a process they could never survive. You were hidden, refined, strengthened. Now your power is not improving anything. Your very presence is proof. You did not come for a seat at the table. You became the table. You were written in as the outsider. Yet all along, you were the author. They called you too quiet, too strange, too sensitive, too different. They handed you roles they could control, but you were never made for that. While they memorized the lines to fit in, you were enduring the true school of pain, betrayal, and loneliness. You learned to carry strength without showing it off. You were never trying to steal the show. You were the show. They mistook you for a shadow in the background, a mere extra in someone else's success story. But you knew you were not born for that. You watched. You learned. You kept silent while they performed. You built while they lived for display. You became whole. Your awakening came without noise, without permission, without approval. You stopped reading other people's scripts and began writing your own, rooted in truth, not in applause. Now they're unsettled. They cannot recognize you because you have become something else. You never needed the stage. You became the stage. You never needed attention. You needed truth. And now, as you step forward, the atmosphere changes. The spotlight seeks you, only because you never sought it. While others fought to be noticed, bent themselves to meet expectations, you built something real, in the dark and the quiet, without approval. You never asked for applause. You knew your worth, even when no one acknowledged it. And now the light searches for you, because you have become something that cannot be fabricated. Your depth, your wisdom, your presence, impossible to replicate. While others tried to be seen, you became real, and everyone felt it. You did not chase fame. You chose the path of building character. You did not display every step. You grew in silence, not for likes, but for truth. And now, when the spotlight falls on you, it is not blind. It reveals what was hidden. They acted reality, but you were the most real one on that stage. They rehearsed confidence, constructed images, wore masks, and you simply were yourself, and that struck them harder than any performance. Their roles were loud. Yours was true. They tried to shine. You carried weight. Their images were noisy but hollow. Yours was quiet but unshakable. You were not competing. You were simply present. And when the real enters, all that is false becomes obvious. You had no angle, sought no approval, made no effort to fit in. You simply lived, and that unsettled them. You were genuine, and that is rare. Every time they tried to replace you, the stage fell empty. They brought in new faces, flashy, loud, with perfect delivery, but all fell apart because it was never about the picture. It was about the spirit you carried with you. The atmosphere changed when you were not there. The spark disappeared. They thought they could simply find someone brighter. But the conversations became empty. The energy turned flat. The magic was gone, because you were not just a part of it. You were its essence. You were the soul of the space, the one who connected, who held it together, who gave it meaning. They did not understand this until they lost it. Everything they tried to substitute was only noise, and you were the substance. Now they are surrounded by imitations, yet they feel what is missing, and it is you. Your silence was not a strategy. It was God's timing. People thought you had vanished, that you were lost, that you had surrendered. But you were not hiding, you were hidden. Not because you were unready, but because the world was not ready. You did not keep silent out of fear. You were undergoing purification. While they chased attention, you walked through fire. While they played, you were searching yourself. Every rejection, every closed path, was not punishment, but preparation. God did not want you to step out too soon, so your calling would not be trampled by those who value only noise. They said, "You're too quiet, you missed your moment." But the truth is, you did not want a moment. You were waiting for your appointed hour, not for noise, but for a sacred shift. You were not hiding, you were ripening. You had not vanished, you were preparing. And now, when you speak, it will not be for sound. It will be for awakening. You carry a presence that restructures the atmosphere. You do not merely enter a room. You change it. People feel it, even if they cannot explain it. The energy shifts. The mood transforms. And it is not about how loud, bright, or talkative you are. It is about who you are. Your purity makes all that is false begin to crack. Those who played roles start to falter. Those who pretended confidence lose their mask, not because you expose them, but because you are real, and authenticity always shakes things up. You do not bring conflict. You do not flatter. You bring truth, and truth always reveals. Everything built on lies. Some grow more attentive near you. Some avoid your eyes. Some grow tense. This is not your fault. It is their misalignment being revealed. Your presence provokes a reaction because the real cannot be resisted. It either heals or exposes. You are not trying. You simply are, and that is enough for everything around you to either be strengthened or fall apart. You do not ask for attention. You command respect simply by existing. Your character was forged in fire that others only pretend to know. Many speak of all they have endured, but behind your every word are real scars. You did not just face hardship. You were crushed by it. You lost people, faith, yourself. You were betrayed by those you trusted. You did not merely survive. You were reborn, not because you were ready, but because you had no choice. You were forgotten, mocked, ignored, but every blow became your tempering. The fire did not just burn you. It purified you, burning away fear, the need for approval, and the tolerance of disrespect. And now you do not shout. You stand firm, silent, but powerful. Now people are drawn to you without knowing why. It is not your style. It is not your appearance. It is your depth, your resilience, your honesty. It is the clarity in your eyes, a silence that speaks more than speeches. They try to copy your radiance, but they have not walked through your fire. They imitate your strength without knowing your storms. You do not need to prove anything. You are the proof. You have lived what they only perform, and that is why you're not afraid, because your steps are etched in hell, and you came out of it illuminated. You did not strive to be noticed. You became someone who cannot be ignored. That is what they never understood. While everyone displayed success, filtered every detail, chased likes and approval, you were quietly paving a way to truth. You did not seek the stage. You sought meaning, not popularity, but depth. You wanted not to appear whole, but to be whole. While others worked on an image, you worked on yourself. You chose growth, even when no one applauded. You wanted not recognition, but true inner strength. And this is why now, when you appear, everything stops. You're not just noticed, you're felt. People are not in awe of who you have become. They respect what you had to go through. You did not walk the easy road. You did not choose the shortcuts. You let life carve you. You let pain teach you. You did not build a facade. You built a foundation. You became real in a world where everyone is playing. And now, when you step forward, it is not just your time. It is your moment of truth. Your life exposes the fake. You did not just show up. You became the reason. Everything else must grow quiet. You did not hide. You became. They thought you missed your chance, not realizing you are the chance. They saw your silence, your pauses, your absence of noise, and decided you were late, that the window had closed, that the moment had passed. But they did not know. You were never made for their schedule. You were never meant to appear on time. You were the time. You did not fit into their chronology because you moved by a divine timetable. And now, when you have appeared, everything changes. Rooms rearrange. Attention shifts. Energy obeys your purity. You did not come in panic. You came prepared. You did not scramble for the moment. You were the moment. You did not break down doors. The doors opened for you because you carry not a force made of noise, but an authority forged in silence. You need no explanations. Your presence is the answer. They thought you were late, but you were moving in the exact point of your purpose. And now everything falls into place. They gave you the wrong script, and still you outshone them all. While others were handed chances, mentors, templates for success, and pats on the back, you were given silence, rejection, and betrayal. They had a road with signs. You had chaos and uncertainty, but you broke through anyway. You stepped forward, not because it was easy, but because the fire inside you never went out. They wrote you as a supporting character, cast you into the shadows, pinned labels on you, and waited for you to accept it. But you took their torn pages and rewrote the whole story. They underestimated the spirit, the depth, and the resolve of a person who holds on to purpose, not approval. You did not follow their rules. You outgrew them. You moved differently. You spoke with conviction when others only echoed each other. You stayed firm when everything around you was shaking. And that is why today, you stand where they cannot even understand how you got there. They do not see that it was the hardships that became your platform. What was meant to destroy you became your strength. You did not memorize the roles. You lived them. And that is why your delivery is unlike any other. You were never trained to be a star in their play, but you have always been the light in your own story. Their scripts were attempts to control. You brought the truth. You did not act. You transformed. You do not just take the lead role. You rewrite the whole genre. It is not about the spotlight finally finding you. It is about something much greater. You never tried to fit into someone else's format. You came to break it. You're not like those who came before. You never sought to repeat. You were sent to bring something new. While they chased trends, you built from nothing. While they copied each other, you built on truth, on pain, on depth. You did not seek the stage. You changed its meaning. They try to classify you, to give you a label, to explain you through old models. But you do not fit the old language. You are the new standard. You do not follow the story. You set it. And now they have no choice but to adapt. Because your authenticity exposes everything shallow. You are not just the hero. You are the reset. And what you bring is not an image, but a depth that cannot be faked. The show does not begin because you're finally ready to be there. It begins because now they are ready. You have been ready for a long time. You have walked silently, through healing, through cleansing, through becoming. You embrace the truth that others turn away from. You chose honesty, where others searched for loopholes. You learned to stand alone without bitterness, to rise without losing your soul. But your readiness is only half the picture. The other half was written by time, because someone like you does not appear when you want, but when the world is finally capable of receiving the truth. Before, they would have tried to silence you, change you, break you, not because you were wrong, but because your authenticity exposed their masks. Now the world is weary of falsehood, of noise, of illusions, and that exhaustion opened the doors to something real, to you. Now it is not just the spotlight that found you. The whole story bends to your purity. You do not ask for attention. You bring meaning. This is not your return. This is your arrival. The curtain rises not for a show, but for truth. Illusions crumble, masks slip, and only you remain real. You did not chase the stage. You became the stage. You did not wait to be noticed. You waited to be received. And now, as the vision of the world clears, your time is no longer in question. It is the answer, and it begins right now. You were the hidden finale in a story full of emptiness. While they played out shallow scenes, pushed forward disposable heroes, chased trends, you were quietly ripening. They thought, the plot is already in full swing. But in reality, it was only leading to your entrance. You were too real for the early scenes. Because your presence would have exposed all the emptiness, the story had to first exhale, to be ready to receive the essence of you. Now, when all that is artificial has collapsed, you enter not with thunder, but with a silence. That carries power. You do not claim fame. You bring meaning. You are the finale that ends chaos with purpose. Your energy does not compete. It completes. You were never meant to be one of many. You have always been the one. They did not fit you into the script, because they did not know how to write someone so real. But now that you have arrived, all the past loses its meaning, because you're not a replacement. You are the original. You are the period, not the comma. Not a continuation of the show, but its conclusion. You do not act for applause. You act for truth. You did not memorize your lines. You live them. You did not follow the format. You rewrote it. And when they called you late, you arrived exactly on time, not to perform, but to put an end to the spectacle. You are the shift, the truth entering a room full of noise and ego. You did not just take the show. You proved that it was never a show. It was preparation for the sacred, and you are the finale, that no one was ready for, but that everyone had been waiting for. So step into your place not as an actor, but as the foundation, as the one who carried the weight, while no one was watching, as the one who restores the stage to its essence. The curtain rises, and now is not about applause. It is about truth, and truth is you.